Yes, my name is Fredrik Alpsten, and I have been with IRRAS for approximately 1.5 years. Before I joined IRRAS, I was the CFO for Bull Diagnostics, listed on the main market. When they called me almost 2 years ago and told me about IRRAS, I was immediately interested because I had a relative. He had a hemorrhagic stroke some years ago. And despite we are living in one of the richest countries in the world, and he got to the hospital very, very fast, he almost died because there were some challenges when they treated his illness. So when I called from IRRAS, I knew that there is a problem with treating patients with intracranial bleedings, and if we have a solution for that, it would be an interesting product. I will say some forward-looking statements. Of course, we have a disclaimer for that. And we are a Swedish company in commercial phase, and we have just launched our first product. And we have an innovative exchange fluid technology that we are launching in Sweden and abroad. But I will come back about Sweden and Europe a bit further on. When I joined IRRAS 1.5 years ago, we were 7 employees. Today we are almost 35 employees. And at the end of 2019, we will be something like 60 employees. We have a small headquarter in Sweden, only 4 employees, and we are responsible for finance, IT, IR, etc. Our main operations are performed in the US, in Southern California. We have there marketing and sales, regulatory, quality, manufacturing, development, etc. And we have also a subsidiary in Germany, a small sales office. A very international company at the moment. When I joined, I said we had only 7 employees. Today we have a management team which is even bigger than that. I will not go through all these persons, but we have a good mix of startup competences and competences from big medtech and pharma companies. Our president, Kleanthis Santopoulos, who some of you have met, he used to be here and present IRRAS. He has founded 4 companies and he has taken 3 of them to Nasdaq. Yes, we focus on intracranial bleedings. And you can have an intracranial bleeding from hypertension, weakened blood vessels, head trauma, from tumors, and from infections. It's quite a common disease. But it has not been that many things going on over the last 20 years. And that's something we have got confirmed also from independent surveys, independent studies, etc. One of the challenges with the present treatment methods, you drill a hole in your head, and you insert a catheter. And you quite often have occlusion, blockage in the catheter. And that can be seen, something like 90 to 47% have occlusion when they treat a patient with the present treatment methods. Then you have to replace the catheter, or clean it, and quite often you see infections with the patients, which is of course not good. We have up to now treated more than 100 patients, and we have not seen any occlusion and no infections. The market is quite big. If we look how many cases that there are in US and Europe each year, it's something like 620,000. But not all are treated clinically. Approximately 40%, 345,000, are treated yearly in US and Europe. The market is growing something like 8 to 10% per year. In my previous life, we used to say that The rest of the world is something like the same size as US and Europe together. If that's the case here, we do not exactly know yet, but that's maybe a good approximation. If we convert the number of procedures times an average selling price for our product, we have a market potential of 1.2 billion euros in US and Europe every year. And in that figure, I also include trauma, which is a disease that, which is an indication that we think we soon can treat with our product. As I said earlier, we something like 40% of the patients are treated clinically, and what we have seen is that it's a lot of discussions going on now that it is really good to treat the patients and to drainage the brain if you have a hemorrhagic stroke or subdural hematoma. On the left here, you see some of our present competitors. Medtronic is a big competitor, Integra, and Johnson & Johnson. And as you can see, they look a bit old-fashioned, these instruments. We have a newly developed instrument, and you can see on the right, it's a touchscreen, more or less like an iPhone. And we have, and I will show that on the next page, the innovative double lumen catheter that prevents the occlusion in the catheter. I would say the competitors, they're quite strong, big companies. They have more or less 1/3 of the market, both in Europe and in US. So this is the advantages with our product. We have an active fluid exchange. The name of the company, IRRAS, comes from irrigation and aspiration. You have a constant flow of liquid in the catheter that prevents it from clot or from occlusion. We have also, we are unique, we have an ICP monitoring system. So at the same time as we drainage the head from liquid, we also measure the pressure, and the neurosurgeon got an alarm if the pressure continues up, or if it goes down too fast, which is not good. And very easy to use. The nurse that put this together and control what's happening, the doctor, very easy to use for all of them. So I said earlier, we have quite good clinical results from from treatment with our products. And as I said, we have treated something like 100 patients or some about that. But you can have good clinical results, but you must also show that the finances for the hospital is good. So we have tried and calculate the savings here, and we have done it together with some of our hospitals. And by avoiding occlusion and by avoiding infections, we can shorten the stay at the hospital. And of course that gives a good positive financial outcome for the hospital. And based on an average here, we come to a saving of something like $13,000 per treatment for each patient. And if you take an average number of treated patients in US, 100 patients per hospital, then each hospital has a saving of $1.3 million per year. We have some very encouraging clinical outcome, clinical cases, and I will not share too many of them, but I would like to share one. And some of you may have heard this before, but it's so amazing, good stories. I would like to take it again. Uh, we have a Swedish distributor, a Scandinavian distributor. He got a call on Valborgsmässoafton last year from a Finnish physician. This Finnish physician, he has not heard about IRRAS flu earlier, but he had a very serious case, a 40-year-old woman, 2 kids, and he had just called her family and told them to come in to say goodbye because she would not survive the night. His colleagues, they have been trained with IRRAflow half a year before, and they told him, well, shouldn't you try IRRAflow? So he called then our distributor, Valborgsmässoafton, 8 o'clock in the evening. Our distributor, he managed to get a courier to Helsinki from Nacka. The product arrived 12 o'clock in the evening. They couldn't, for certain reasons, not start the treatment during the night, but in the morning they started. And our distributor, he gave instructions via Skype actually to this guy in Helsinki. So he treated her, and as you can see in the middle here, which is something we got in an email from the doctor, the patient is conscious. No bacteria is left in the brain. She went from 100% probability of death to now conscious. This should not have been possible without IRRAflow. Europe is something, and I will say something more about Europe, but our biggest things now is the US. We got our 510K approval July 2018. We started to hire a sales force in US during the fall, and we treated the first patient in January 2019. A lot of things going on in Europe. We have some challenges that, like all small companies. We got a CE approval in 2014. We launched the product 2017 in Europe. Then our notified body decided to not continue certifying products, and we were informed that we could not continue selling due to this. We had to go find a new notified body. And for some of you, you may know that it's a challenge in Europe at the moment to find a notified body that fast can notify products. So we, during the spring 2018, got 2 of 3 products in our system approved. We got the ISO certificate approved, but we are still waiting for the catheter to be approved. And we have not communicated to the market when we expect it. We are positive, we have ongoing dialogue, but we would not give any estimates about that yet. But we are positive. The good thing with the delayed CE mark is that we could focus on US, we could focus on building up manufacturing, quality, a lot of good things. Even, of course, we missed a lot of sales in Europe due to this CE mark delay. And now we're building up a US organization. We have at the moment 6 guys. They have approached 30 US hospitals. We have started evaluation, or the hospitals have started evaluation. 15 hospitals have started evaluations. It's ongoing. All this started after end of the year, and we expect some sales already in Q1 2019. And as you know, it's a process. We have our sales guys out there. You need to get a positive doctor. You need to have nurses on board, train the nurses, and you need also to pursue the hospital administration, because we are charging a higher price than our competitors, and they need to understand it's an advantage for them to use us because the patient stays shorter in the hospital. So we have launched in US. We are on the way to launch in Europe as soon as we get back to the CE mark. But we have also started evaluating launching in other countries. We have ongoing registration work in quite many countries. We have treated patients in Hong Kong, for example, and we are on our way in Latin America and in some other places in Asia and in the Middle East. And we have a lot of things happening in 2019. The launch in US, of course, participation in a lot of congresses, a lot of investor conferences like this. We have also submitted scientific papers, and we hope we can have them published later this year. Lot of things going on in 2019. 2 weeks ago, we published new financial targets. The delay in the CE mark has been a challenge, I must say, because we missed almost 1.5 years of sales. And we pushed our financial targets a bit. So our new financial targets, they are sales exceeding 275 million in 2021, a gross margin exceeding 72%, and 6 new complementary products on the market by the end of 2021, and we will have a positive cash flow latest Q4 2021. More or less 1 year ahead, slightly increased the sales numbers because we have seen a potential to have higher prices in the US than we said in connection with our IPO.